Dylan's Fear Files. I'm posting this because I want some advice. I've already filed a police report and made my friends and family aware of the situation. But I want to know if anyone has any advice for my current situation. This happened a few hours ago. Okay, so let's begin. I'm a 24-year-old trans male, and I live with 3 other people and 4 dogs in a small city. Now you know my life story, so let's get on with the meat and potatoes. I know that's what you're here for. My brother and I came home from visiting our dad this evening. I found that 2 of our dogs had gotten into a fight and one of them was way bigger than the other, so the other, my dog, got pretty beaten up. The vet across the street was closed, so I had to call their emergency line. After I got off the phone with the vet, I carried my dog down to the vet and waited for him to show up. The parking lot in the office itself was all dark, and there weren't any streetlights nearby, but I wasn't too freaked out. I knew my brother was home and was just across the street, and he's protective of me, so I knew I had backup if something happened. I was holding my dog and waiting for the vet, and I see this guy walking my way. "Jeff?" he asked. I figured he was the vet's assistant or something, so I confirmed that's who I was. He told me he had never met me before, but that he knew my name because he was a prophet of God. I thought to myself, oh great, I've got a religious nut here and he's probably stoned or something. But I was polite and talked to him while I waited for the vet to show up. He offered to come inside with me and keep me company while I let the vet look at my dog. I figured he was being nice because I was freaking out a little due to the nature of my dog's injuries. I told him, yeah, sure, I like the company. So we talked a little while my dog was getting checked out, and he said he knew my dad, and that he was a cool old guy. My dad is a 44-year-old man who looks like he's in his 30s and he's fairly serious, so I knew right then something didn't add up. So I was like, oh yeah? Well, what's my dad's name? He changed the subject pretty quickly, and after that I became very suspicious, because Daddy didn't raise an idiot. I focused my attention on talking to the vet and petting my dog, and didn't talk to him very much after that other than a few polite responses. After I got done with the vet, I picked up my dog and started to walk home. He followed me and kept talking to me, so I kept chatting casually with him so he didn't think I suspected anything. I walked home, because my street isn't lit up all that well and I had my hurt dog with me. He followed me up to my porch and asked if he could use my phone. Something I found really odd as he was texting while we were in the house. I told him we didn't have a home phone, because I didn't want him to keep trying to use that as an excuse to get inside. He then asked if he could come in and help me take care of my dog for a few hours. I told him no, he didn't need to, that I had a house full of people who could help me. At this point I'm like, well crap, if I go inside he might try to follow me or force his way in. So I sat on the porch with him and kept him talking while I tried to figure out what to do. I wound up texting my brother, who was inside at the time, and asked him to come outside. He did, and the stranger acted like he knew him, even stating that he got bigger. My brother played along, pretending to know him and pulled him into a hug, then made eye contact with me, and I mouthed that I didn't know him. My brother became apprehensive of the man immediately, and we slowly started making comments about how it was really late and we needed to go soon, but he kept talking. He then started rambling about smoking weed and how he had gotten arrested, then asked my brother if he wanted this pipe that he had left at a friend's house. He told my brother he could have it if he went with him, and my brother refused, claiming he didn't smoke weed. We finally bluntly told him we were going inside because it was late, and went in and locked all the doors. I alerted my household to the situation and described the man to them. And then I called the police and filed a report with them. Currently my house is completely locked up and I have a large knife by me just in case. But are there other precautions I can take? I feel like a lot of the behavior he was exhibiting was casing behavior, which means he might have been trying to scope out my house so he could see if we were worth robbing. So Mr. Prophet of God, who is casing my house, let's not meet again, for your sake really. Because you'll probably meet my dogs first, and that's only because they're faster than me. Update. First off, let me say I'm grateful for everyone's interest in my story and situation, and grateful for the support as well. Some interesting stuff has happened, but nothing super crazy. The next day, around 12:30 in the afternoon or so, I heard the front screen door open, and all the dogs started going crazy and barking up a storm. I didn't hear anyone knock, so at first I thought it was just the wind or something. I shushed the dogs and got them to calm down and went upstairs to grab my headphones. As I was passing by one of my upstairs windows, I noticed a person walking away out of the corner of my eye. I noticed because his shirt was bright orange, so I looked, and it was Mr. Prophet of God himself, walking briskly away from the house. I realized what I had heard was probably him at the door, and went and alerted my sister to the situation, so she could be aware of what was going on, and called the police and let them know that the guy who tried to get in the night before had come back. I was honestly surprised that he'd tried to enter the home in the middle of the day. The cops showed up in maybe like 3 to 5 minutes after I'd called, and I let them know what he was wearing and where he went, and the officer told me if I see him following me anywhere to call them immediately. My sister's boyfriend posted on Facebook asking his friends if any of them had any information about the man. And while some comments were racist, I censored the racist comments. Racism is gross, yo. There was one that stood out. One of his friends replied saying he had a similar experience and described the man I encountered, meaning he's tried this crap before. I think he may have showed up again or something at around 2 a.m. or so yesterday as well, because I heard the cops turn their sirens on for a split second. Then I saw the lights flashing outside of my house. I got up and checked and saw that the police were parked in front of my next door neighbor's house, though they didn't come and knock to tell me they got Mr. Prophet, nor have I gotten any calls from the station. So I'm not sure if them showing up had anything to do with my situation or not. Would the police contact me to let me know they got a hold of the guy? There's not much else to tell quite yet, but I'll make more updates as things happen.